7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's start right out. Hey, what happened?
Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Dean, and this is our show, the Dean Blundell Show for today, the start of the week. We got lots to get to. We've got an Astroworld tragedy to get to. We got some shenanigans from the Premier's son. We've got like an internet fight that was all world this weekend. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about crazies. We'll talk about QAnon. We'll talk about it all, and everybody's here. Please welcome to the program these guys. Lochlin Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM at Edmonton, at Lochlin Cross on Twitter. James DiFiore from Blackball the Podcast, blackballmedia.ca, and former Secret Service guy to the president, real president, one of our last real ones, one of his last, Barack Obama. Please welcome from the Silver Spear Podcast, J.M. Guarnieri joins us today. J.M. Guarnieri, security expert. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Good to see you. You look great today. A little pixelated, but I play a lot of Minecraft in my downtime, so it looks normal to me.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say some stuff this week that I don't want my people to see my face, so we're good here.
Oh, good. It's working. So, this is one of those got to hide behind some pixels just so people don't know that your entire name is on our screen. Also, we get the name of your business.
Yeah, for sure.
Who
sold you the technology?
Yeah,
I'm good. Been super busy with everything. Back on the road touring and busy with the podcast stuff. And staying healthy. Looking forward to the winter.
Yep.
And we're super busy with everything.
You look like I think we're getting a little feedback there. You look great. You look fun. You look like you lost some weight. You look chiseled in the jaw.
Yeah, I had a full beard. I actually dressed like a pan satyr for Halloween, a Halloween party. So I had the goat body and stuff. So I grew out the beard, and then I had to shave for some work stuff. So yeah, I'll grow my facial hair every now and then, but stay healthy, staying fit. I tried cutting out unnecessary sugars the last couple of months and stuff. So
that looks like it's helped. Unnecessary sugars.
Yeah, well, I still love Mountain Dew, and that Mountain Dew releases a new flavor every 2 weeks. Whether it's they just have a new one the other day I got at Walmart. It was ginger bread flavored. So right there, I'm like, well, I don't care that much about my health. I'm gonna try it.
Jesus, dude, what the fuck did the government do to you, for Christ's sake?
I would count Mountain Dew at Walmart a unnecessary sugar, but fuck, who am I to judge anybody?
Good. I'm a sucker for the advertising. If it has a cool label, it's got Mountain Dew. But yeah, I take my coffee black now. A lot of stuff I usually eat, like sweets and candy. I don't eat as much as that. If I do energy drinks, sugar free, even though it's still bad for you. But yeah, it's just trying to take care of my body every now and then.
We look fucking awesome, and you're back in the game, right? Like now the pandemic's over. What John does for a lot of people is he's kind of a three-pronged weapon. One, not only is he former Secret Service, and not only is he served his country admirably by taking care of Barack Obama for many years, but he also has a tremendous podcast called the Silver Spear Podcast, which last week he interviewed the real fucking Mike Myers. I could not believe it. It is awesome. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to his podcast, download it. As far as YouTube downloads, it's our biggest by far. It's a huge, huge podcast. So if you get a chance to listen to it, it's awesome. Is it weird for you being in this game, watching that kind of take off?
I've always been a firm believer, no matter what everything I do, I just got to do the best I can. And whether that's sacrificing social life or whatever it is, put as much work in as you can. And hopefully, for me, if I had the one person watching me the last 85 episodes, that's all I care about. I'm happy. I'm learning. If for a selfish reason, you kind of get, one more person this week, 2 more people this week. Oh, that episode got 20,000 views in less than a week. And so for me, it's just, I love seeing the growth. I love getting messages from people that say, hey, they just found the episode for the first time or that type of stuff. But it's therapeutic. It's fun. But it's also fun to jump on other people's podcasts like yourself. And the Dean Blundell Network has been amazing in terms of letting any legit podcast have the voice to talk about whatever they want to talk about. And it's cool to see you guys grow and to see all these different new podcasts you guys are launching as well. So the whole thing's great.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? It's nice
We're
that we're
stealing.
all kind of a team.
I just stole one of your ideas, John, before we went on air. I took the top 3 trending things tagged our live. So we'll see. We don't even need to talk about it, right?
No, we don't, because people are just going to latch on to the trending tag it is.
Okay.
But obviously the stuff we're talking about, Astroworld and stuff like that, it's already a worldwide trending thing, so it will help. I guarantee the views of this will be larger than.
Okay,
Yeah,
I put Travis Scott in there and UFC 268 and Yellowstone.
Yeah, oh, dude, that new Yellowstone episode is fire.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
I haven't watched Yellowstone, but there's 2 seasons that are out, and the 3rd just came out, and all my pals are like, dude, get onto Yellowstone. And I'm like, but fucking Kevin Costner, the bodyguard, I don't think I can watch it. And they're like, you gotta watch it. It is
You'll
so
like it.
fucking
You'll
good.
see past the Kevin Costner thing right away, because I was triggered by that as well. But I've had no problems with it. It's like Dallas on steroids. Like Who Shot JR on steroids. It's good.
Okay, I'll watch that. I'll watch that. Yeah, if there's guns involved, I'll watch that. And Diane Lane's in it, and I've always been a little bit particular about Diane Lane. I'm a big
John,
Diane
what do you
Lane
think
fan.
of the daughter?
I don't know the daughter. John, do you know?
What do you mean when I think of her?
The redhead.
Do I think she's pretty?
She triggers a lot of people. I love her.
Yeah, I mean, I get the I like her tenacity and her fire, her vigor. But I don't want to say too much without giving away.
Taking her for lunch.
Yeah, she might take you for lunch, Dean. I know that for a fact.
No, this girl is hardcore.
Is she good? I don't even know who it is.
Yeah, I'm getting a boner just thinking about her.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's great.
Cole Hauser's on the show too. He's a good actor. It's just the whole the cast is great. The whole show. It's just
the
a great
cast
show.
is awesome. Yeah,
yeah. Everybody's talking about it, and I'm like, I'm a 2-season guy, so it's like something's still around after 2 seasons. I'm like, okay, I'll go back. It's like when I waste an entire weekend on something that only comes out for 1 season. You're like, fuck, what's the point? Why did I even bother doing that? Right? Like,
did you
so
watch Squid Game?
Yeah, loved Squid Game. Thought it was the greatest.
You? Okay, because that's only 1 season.
I've watched the first 3 episodes. For me, it's just a time thing. I don't watch a lot of TV, so
it was great. It was great.
I love the idea.
I liked it. I thought that when they introduced the Western characters, because I don't want to give anything away, I thought that was like weirdly awful, but the rest of it was brilliant. I thought it was their voices. It just didn't make sense to me.
It's a little. Somebody gave me some great advice. They said watch it with the subtitles and the dubbing.
Both of them.
No.
Yeah.
I just did subtitles, but okay. Like I can't stand the sound of the dubbing. I can't stand
I'm okay with it.
You don't like it because the lips don't match up to the audio?
Yeah, it's weird. Like people talking, you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, you got to be able to look through that. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. You know what? It was funny because I was talking to my kids about Squid Game the other day because they've all seen it too. And by the way, it's my son's 22nd birthday. Weren't sure if we were going to get to 22 with the young man. Lifetime of addiction issues. The kid is on fire. I want to say happy birthday to my 22-year-old.
That's awesome.
He's wonderful. I love him. Ev, you're the king. But I was talking to him about it yesterday, and I'm like, roughly 50 million Canadian. Would you take part in a Squid Game, a domestic Squid Game? Yes or no, Johnny?
I don't
you'd have a leg up because you're a fucking Secret Service agent. So
I mean, I would. I mean, I follow people on TikTok who are actually building out their own real life Squid Game arenas, and maybe I would compete for that. But I don't know. I don't know. Gun to my head, I would want to say yes, but then I'm like, dude, what if you get caught in something really terrible?
Right. Like, what if someone dies next to you and they're like, hey, did you see this person die? You're fucked. But at the same time, if nobody could find out, so let's put some rules here. Nobody could find out. Would you enter a series of life and death games if nobody knew and there was no recourse and the prize was 50 million? There were like 400 other people.
I would. I don't know. I like my chances. I mean, I don't. I mean, what? Yeah. So
if you're in it, I'm not going in it. That's the thing. If I know the guys,
yeah, but I wouldn't know. We wouldn't know who's in it, though, right?
That's true.
You don't know. You don't know who your competition is.
No, I mean, what if us four are a group and we have to kill the other group? I like our chances.
Well, I'm on your group no matter what.
But then eventually you got to turn on each other.
Right.
I hate to be the one to tell you this, but you do not want me in your group at all.
Well, you're the first one we're killing for food. I'm not worried about that.
Oh, I don't know.
I would be the weak link I want to be the guy that says that I would have the balls to do this, but I am a giant flopping pussy. There's no way.
Look at this.
I have like a head injury when I do any sports.
I'd be out before they finished explaining the fucking rules.
Yeah. Same here, because
I got ADHD. I wouldn't get the rules. I'd be sitting there talking to the next guy going, hold on, what are we doing again? What are we
Excuse me, so just a clarification on the whole battleship part. Are we going to, like, would, bang, you're dead.
Is the water actually
people
wet?
would clap. They'd be like, fucking finally, that fucking guy's dead.
Yeah. I've said to the kids, they're like, would you do it? I'm like, fucking for sure I would. For sure I would do it. I would try it. And, and then I would cause like some kind of massive abdication of responsibility just so we could all get out. That's what I would do.
I would do it under one condition: if my stepmother would do it. And then it's all gravy, no matter what.
Make her go first.
I am pretty sure the guy driving me in the van to the arena to play the first game would shoot me. There's no fucking way I'd make it through that competition. Not at all.
Well, listen, let's talk about a different kind of terrible fucking sequence of events. Led to some death on the weekend, and it's one of the reasons after it happened, I reached out to Johnny on the weekend. I'm like, hey, can you talk about this Astroworld thing? And he's like, yeah, for sure. As it sits now, there are a ton of different victims down in Houston, Texas. You know, the Travis Scott Astroworld event was there. Drake was there. 8 people now reported to have died, hundreds more injured at Astroworld. The ages of the victims, very sad, range from 14 to 27. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner said, according to the deaths came around after 50,000 people attended the sold-out festival surged toward the main stage. Houston Fire Chief Samuel Pena told reporters at a news conference it was a mass casualty event. Now, John made mention of it earlier. You guys, I don't know if you know this, he is like a touring security professional and recently just came back with the guys from Shinedown, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, how many tour dates do you do a year? And kind of give us the scope of what Silver Spear does in this capacity.
Right. So before normal, pre-COVID or whatever, probably 200 shows a year. And that's arenas, amphitheaters, Lochlin, at stadiums, anywhere you can put a show on. I've done these shows, even during the pandemic, drive-ins, big lots, all this stuff, parking lots, cars, everything, people, whatever it is. And so I'm primarily out with Shinedown, but we have guys that are out with Nickelback. We have guys out doing stadium runs with other artists in the ballparks, like Fenway Park and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, the idea is to, if you're a touring security professional, is you are responsible for all security for the show. So my day starts 3 months out from a show with proper advancing, talking to the promoter, the venue contacts, the venue security contacts, local police, military, if you're in another country, stuff like that. And so when it's done properly, any festival or event with proper advance time and care to what you're doing, you can make any event safe. Now, people will say, oh, how about Las Vegas or Bataclan? It's unfortunate events like that happen, but the one thing you take from those events is that those should never happen again. So you kind of go from there. But it starts with, I just get so heated about this whole thing because I think a lot of this, and I don't know, I wasn't there. I'm not going to quarterback this. I'm not going to say should have this, or this person should have done this, because I wasn't there. For me, it's a respect thing. If the artist respects the audience respects the artist, then there is no one getting hurt at that show. I just did 2 shows with Shinedown. Someone in the crowd, where the singer stopped the show, made me go in the crowd and make sure this person, they tripped or fell, or one of them was epileptic seizure. Another one kind of was like a fight broke out. Stop the show, make sure it's handled, get with staff, security, medical, make sure it's okay. Boom, done. I've done that thousands of times with Shinedown, Nickelback, whoever it is. We have that relationship with the artist. Hey, there's something going on. Stop the show. Well, if you come into a show safe, you should leave the show safe and unharmed. And I think what happened this past weekend is that you had an artist that wasn't respecting the crowd enough, and the crowd, whoever it wasn't a mutual sign of respect here. The audience is telling someone to stop the show, screaming, chanting, grabbing crew people's attention, and and nothing was happening. Now, I don't know the time response, the delay. Again, I wasn't there. But any show I'm at, if something happens, the person I go to, hey, where's the security director for the event? What do you mean? Well, that's your problem right there. You don't know the security guys. Who's controlling this crowd? Why isn't someone from that production or audience team, his team, tour manager, whatever, pulling that guy aside? Hey, man, you control the crowd here. You got the microphone. They're here for you, these 50,000 people. You need to stop the show right now. Help security, help medical, help EMTs, police sort this out. Now that's just the actual when everything happening. I'm not going to talk about
that's the security director's responsibility.
Security director. I every time I step foot with a client, I can shut that show down if I want. Mm-hmm. Now I'm not going to pull the plugs out. There's an etiquette here, but I've been there loaded for a show where a stage was unsafe or some weird stuff. The production manager and the crew were like, "We're not even putting our crew on here." So I'm not walking my band to the stage if I know it's not a safe area. And that doesn't just include the stage. That's the crowd. That's make sure the barricade's safe, that stuff is taped and latched down, that there's proper egress routes, the medical's ready, people are properly staffed at the barricades, front of house is secure. All this stuff you have to do before doors open. And I think a lot of those steps are kind of skipped. This isn't passing blame. But for me, you watch some of these clips out there, and you're just like, no one came on stage.
Yeah.
Well, let me play a couple clips here too, Johnny, just to kind of give some backstory. Obviously, we're talking about the Astroland disaster. 8 people dead. Ages range from 14 to 27. Heart attack, asphyxiation. Thought that the crowd was not in control. That people were being crushed. And the crux of the issue is I think that you've kind of passively stated is like, hey, listen, there's a respect between the person on stage and the people in the crowd that if something bad is going on in the crowd, the person on the stage stops everything, right? So let me just play a couple of clips. This is an example of that too. So as you can see, what you're going to see here is a young lady getting on stage asking to stop the show because people are dying in the crowd. Watch it.
Chase me, let's do it. Lost on honest, driven in pro-cars. Just bring your girl, feel like she boba. Your black nigga run to the ocean. So far we here, trapped on the ocean. About to go up a level of disrespect. I'm just one chain away from going heavy. Just one angel away from blocking up the devil. Just one mountain away from being on my girl.
Now, that lady, if there's subtitled versions of that video, that lady's like, there's someone dead out here, like right in front of your thing. And the camera guy's like, I can't help you, lady. I'm just recording this thing. And I believe at that time, Travis Scott had stopped the show, but as you could hear, had started again. That was one problem by the actual sound stage / camera stage. There were several other a little closer to the stage. So is that what you're talking about? Like, hey, listen, that show should have been fucking stopped.
Well, to break that down, where those are the spotlights for the show. So they're usually out by front of house where the soundboard is, the lighting director, the monitors guy. There's a bunch of crew out there. There's security. Usually in some of the big festivals, EMTs, people that can react to a situation out there. That area is secure with barricade, bike rack. You can't normally get in an area. The fact that fans jumped over that barricade without being stopped by security, able to climb up that ladder, which is usually 4 to 8 feet up in the air, to tell a crew person who probably has no idea going on because he's focused on the actual stage. He's not looking
stage,
right.
Yeah.
He can't look down because he's a spotlight for the show.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. So when he gets told like that, I'm not faulting that guy because he has no idea what the fuck's going on. He can't hear shit. There's all this stuff going on. My problem is, where is staff and security in that barricade that just willingly let that woman and those kids jump over? I mean, thank God those fans were smart enough to realize, hey, we need to get someone's attention. Camera guy, spotlighter, where's the lighting director in charge of you? Should be on radio. Hey, 2 fans came up to me. This is what they're saying. What up? And then I'm like, where's security letting these people just jump over the barricade? Because right there's the other issue. And then before the show even started, around 12:30, people rushed the barricade, the entrance, the stage areas to fill these areas, and they should have paused the show. cancel a couple of acts. Sorry, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Sorry to Baby. You're not going on right now because we have people rushing in here get trampled. That was in the afternoon. So all this shit that manifested up until the night before the headliner gets on there, who's notorious for getting people riled up and whatever. And he's an entertainer. I get it. I'm all about it. But this all permeated from the day, the first one doors, when people rushed the stage, rushed the doors. They were understaffed, and they didn't, because you are understaffed. Sure, hey guys, pause up. Let's assess what's going on. Redeploy some security people here. Let's kind of figure out where people are supposed to go. Make sure fire exits, all this stuff. But no, keep the show going. Keep the show going. Stop. He stopped the show once. It looks like he goes on another 30 so minutes, and I read the transcripts where it got to the point where we need Drake to come out here, and then you need to finish up your set real quick. So at what point does money mean more over human life? Or it just, for me, if that was my artist up there, and I'm the security director, I'm yanking him off the stage the most professional way possible. As soon as I hear of a medical situation or any one time that someone falls out of the crowd, that's, hey man, just so you're aware, maybe say something on the mic. Hey guys, be safe. Look out for each other. Something falls. You need help. Go to reach a crew member, security staff. Do that. None of that happened, and so a lot of people jumped on saying, "Oh fuck Travis," and I don't know what's going through his mind. Some artists get so locked in and stuff, but I'm also aware that, man, you go back to Kurt Cobain when he stopped the show in the 90s when a girl was being sexually assaulted in the crowd, or I've seen Dave Grohl do it. I've seen Garth Brooks. I've seen Harry Styles, where he'll see a fight break out in the top of an arena and stop the show and make sure that fight gets handled before the show goes on. So I know artists can do it.
But isn't it hard? Isn't it hard a little bit to blame the artist? Not saying you're blaming. Not saying you're. Hold on. I'm not saying you're blaming him at all. Sorry, I worded that incorrectly. But does the artist have, in this case, have any responsibility at all if he's not told by his manager or someone like that, someone that he knows and trusts? Hey, listen, this is happening, because otherwise you're in the zone. Hold on a second. I'm not finished. You're in the zone, right? You're performing. Who's coming up to him and saying something? And saying that, like, who is that person?
John is.
I am, or if I'm dealing with something in the crowd.
When it just happened, like who
it should be someone in my role. I don't know. I never saw anyone actually go on that stage. And now, if I have my ears in, I can talk to the artist too, or anyone in production. I'm on radio, and so for me, it is a great question. I think it's easy to pile on the artist in these situations because, again, I don't know what he's seeing. I don't know how he's locked into the show, or I know there's a ton of pyro, there's cues, he's up in the air. I know there's safety issues where he's probably worried about. He's probably been drinking.
It sounds like a promoter issue. If there's no security around that camera guy, if there's like people walking up on that stage, if there's all this stuff happening, that's a promoter thing as far as.
And I don't know if the reason why those people came over is because the security was running in there to deal with the other issues that are happening. So I never want to assume, but something needs to be done where communication is paramount. Someone's pulling that guy off stage and be like, hey man, we need to figure this out here. Hey, just so you know, hey, get the crowd going. I mean, when I'm on a show, every time or stage left, we have a house microphone just for emergencies. So anyone from the house can be like, hey, there's a fire, exit out, stage left, stage right, orderly fashion. There is a system in place, if advanced properly, in the event that something does happen like this, where, hey, stop the show, open up here. But
even for small events, I remember as a promoter using headsets and just checking them before the show and giving them security and to whoever.
Yeah, no, it's again, I think communication. There was a breakdown somewhere where, I mean, even the artists I'm with, they want to know end of the night how many medicals, how many arrests. That's all stuff I collect, and they want to know if they see someone get in a fight and they're on side stage watching the opening act, they're going to come up to you end of the night and go, "Hey, whatever happened with that?" Not because they're seeing if I'm paying attention, but because, hey, if maybe this person got hurt, or let's figure out if they need help or something like that. So,
there's massive liability there too, right? Like, people that have the, performers that want the best for their crowd also don't want to get sued at the end of a big night where they make, a couple $100,000 or whatever the situation is. And they don't, because that's what's happening now, is that people are lining up. Lawsuits have already been filed against Travis Scott. Lawsuits have already been filed against the promoter. And I think what John's saying, if I can read through this was a breakdown on multiple levels, right?
Yeah.
Like I just got this thing from our guy from Offload Delay. His name's Brad Hopper. He's a paramedic. He's got a first responders podcast. He says, John, as a medical guy, I'd need the sound cut and lights on and security escort in and out of a situation like that. Is that not protocol? Like, I didn't see any of that, to the point where, as sad as this is, watching them try and take this woman out who's unconscious and drop her on her head. This is hard to watch. And listen, I know they're trying to do their best, and that's a fucking egregious video, but there's no space for them to do their job properly. It almost seems like there are so many, and I talked to my buddy Brent about this, there's so many different people that have to sign off on just opening the doors to something like that. And that's where this stuff broke down. Like, who has to sign off on, you talked about being understaffed, having the proper medical people there, having the proper security team there. Like, who gets the ultimate? Because at the end of the day, the state of Texas has to say, yeah, here's your permit. Go ahead. You're good to go. Open the doors, right?
Yeah, no, and even to take a step further, the layout for a show like that, when you put 50,000 people on the floor, that's not the most conducive. If you put them in the arena or the actual stadium that was right there, it's a built-in structure where people aren't rushing stages, people aren't rushing through gates. The gates these people crashed were chain link fences stuck between cinder blocks or on wheels. It's not conducive to stop people from moving stuff or preventing people coming in. So when you have 50,000 people literally contained in this one open area, it's not, you need to break that up. Put some VIP stuff here, put a section of chairs, put all these different checks and balances with gates and barricade. It just seemed, and I don't, again, I wasn't there. I don't know if nothing happened and say only one person, because people do die at shows. I think people die at load-ins, load-outs, heart attack. It does happen. But say nothing happened, but would we wouldn't be talking about this. But from my perspective, if I saw the layout and nothing happened, I still looked at it from the aerial of what could have, I'd be like, man, we're lucky nothing did happen. And so that's how I kind of look at stuff. Because there's just so much going on, and you don't want to blame anyone. I know it's just tough. It's just tough for the industry, especially because you have 2 years of people not seeing shows or pent up. You had all ages of the show.
Come back and a bunch of people die, right?
Yeah, that's right. And like the needle thing, I don't know anything about that. I mean, I've read reports.
Oh, our boy Chris Guy says it's the fault of the jab.
No, Dean. There was something else. There was another story that somebody was in the middle of the crowd, pulled out a syringe, and started jabbing people.
Oh,
but that was probably just HIV. It's fine. Don't worry about it. What?
Yeah. You know what? We talked about it this morning, and somebody brought up a good point. And I understand when something tragic like this does happen, I think we immediately try to take a step back.
Well, we want to blame people, right? Like we're like,
well,
whose fault was this? Who's getting?
Well, you do want to blame people, but if you are a more rational person, especially somebody involved in the industry like John is, and I totally get his sort of cautiousness about talking about what could have been or what should have been or who to blame. But I think you can assess some blame on the part of the artist, Travis Scott, who, by the way, if you held me down in a room with a gun to my head and said, name a Travis Scott song or you're going to die, you're burying me.
Yeah.
I have no fucking clue who this guy is. I've never even remotely heard his music. Not that I know of. Anyway.
That's how Travis Scott got his record deal. You better give me that fucking record deal.
So anyway,
right to that.
I know nothing about this artist. But the fact that he continued to play for 30 plus minutes while people were dying is definitely something I think he's going to chew on legally. And if he isn't morally, then he's a piece of shit. And then the other thing is that came up today when we were talking about it on our show. And again, I don't want to make this about genres, but maybe it is worth a conversation. In the rock world, that's the only shows I go to. I've never been to anything other than a rock show. And the fans, they take care of each other in the mosh pit. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen this countless times. I've been to hundreds of shows. I've seen it happen so many times I can't remember specific details where an artist will stop in the middle of a song and go, listen, everybody, take a fucking step back. Do it now or I'm not playing. I mean, I understand that he's got a great light show, but he's got to pay attention to the audience. And if things are going crazy and people are being pulled over the barricade, passed out like that girl, if he's not noticing that, he's an idiot. I'm sorry. And maybe there is a conversation between, rock and rap or whatever. Right? I don't know.
Dude, Travis Scott stopped the show at one point for 30 seconds and made reference to people being passing out in the fucking crowd.
In that video, I think you're talking about, he was still talking on auto-tune, telling people, hey, I'm just like, dude, know your fucking gig. I'm being stone serious here. Dude, at this time, the show is over, and you need to focus on your number one priority. Your crew, the fans, everyone that paid to be at the show for a safe, fun time needs to leave safe and fun. And right now, you're making a mockery of it. You don't know what fucking voice modulator you have on your microphone. Dude, he was like, yeah. I'm just like, dude.
When everybody please file to the exit.
Take it to the exit. Everybody.
I'm just like, I'm just cringeworthy.
Awful.
I'm like, dude, someone grab this guy and say what's going on. And if no one's telling his team, because I don't know, again, I don't know what's going on.
That's still a promoter
right.
Because I don't know what his
I still think Travis Scott needs to eat
I know, but there's lots of lights there.
Here.
You've seen people get pulled over the barricades at other shows before, and the show doesn't stop. I went to a Rage Against the Machine concert. It's with Cypress Hill in '93 or something like that, and a bunch of stuff happened where people were being just a little bit squished and they were but it's hard when you're an artist. Listen, you're trying to remember your really whack lyrics, right? And you're trying to make sure you stay on point, and then all of a sudden you look over there and someone's getting pulled up, and then I don't know. I feel like I think that some artists would think to themselves, if the promoter isn't yanking me, then I still have to perform. And you can say what you want about the rock stars that stop the shows. That's great, and they should do that. But I don't know. I don't think we can assume that we knew that guy knew how serious it really was. But I think the promoter did.
I think you're wrong. I think he probably did.
All right.
I do. I think you're wrong.
Okay.
But to James's point though, and I think it is a great point, is say the artist isn't in tune with that. There are artists that maybe they're so locked in with the fire, the pyro, all the glitz and glamour of the actual show. At one point though, does your crew guy that knows the show can hear stuff? I can hear everything in the crowd. If you start screaming, fuck this guy, I'm gonna hear that, and I'm gonna find out exactly who you are and find out what the deal is. So anyone of the crew, and you're telling me there's over 500 security there and 500 cops, all this stuff, not one person able to get someone backstage. I have a friend on the crew there. He's one of the people, not with the actual camp, but one of the vendors. And he said, John, I got a text from my mom 30 minutes after the first couple of deaths were reported. I had no idea what was going on because no one told us on the radio. So where's the communication breakdown where no one even knows at the actual event what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, come
it's
on.
Just broken telephone, right? It's just.
If I'm at any events I'm at, if there's an eviction, a fight, or whatever, I'm immediately calling on my cell phone or on the radio if they have access to me that way. But I'm immediately notified, timestamp, what happened, why, what the reaction was, what took place, all that stuff. I'm aware of it. I guarantee none of that was happening in real time. And it's unfortunate because people's lives, kids, and whoever you are, it's super tragic.
Didn't a 14-year-old die?
10-year-old too, I think.
10-year-olds in the hospital, 14-year-old, 2 16-year-olds.
Well, they shouldn't have got the vaccine.
Everybody else over 18.
And you know what? Usually, just before because wasn't Drake supposed to come on after that?
He came on.
He came on, and
right.
And just
but what I was going to, oh sorry,
he was actually just sued 5 minutes ago. Sent me the actual article.
Well, I was just going to say, oftentimes the headliner will be with the promoter in an area that nobody else can go, and there'll be one, maybe two at the most security people on the outside of that room. And so that it could have just been they were blacked out. They were just they blacked themselves out because they figured, okay, we're going to have you on in about 20 minutes, Drake, and this and that, and they were having a drink.
Drake made mention of it. Drake made mention of it. Oh yeah, in auto-tune probably. Travis Scott made mention of it in auto-tune.
Are you telling me
Drake made mention of it from a wheelchair, trying to elicit sympathy so it doesn't get sued?
Did they continue the show after
after
Travis
Drake?
Scott? Holy fuck. Sue them all. Oh, they're all fucking idiots. I'm
Well,
sorry.
Travis
They're
Scott
all-
was the headliner.
All of
And
them. Fuck Drake. You dicks. If there's people that die at an event, you shut that shit down and you send everybody home.
They kept going
Fuck,
for an extra
man.
35 bucks.
Unbelievable. I didn't know that.
Who was the promoter?
Johnny
Was it
said
Live
that, right?
Nation?
Johnny
I have
said
no.
that.
I don't know any of that stuff. I know
It
those
is.
festivals like that have like 4 or 5 people involved in terms of
Live
like
Nation was
underwrite
the main
that.
promoter. Yeah.
So only 8 died. So if they would have hit 10, maybe they wouldn't have let Drake on. Holy shit.
No.
What a bunch of morons.
Johnny, I know you got to bail it at 3:45. Sorry, we can't get some of your QAnon friends, but next time.
No, I mean we could go another couple minutes here.
Okay. Can we really? Can you quickly before? And
Yeah,
thanks by the way
so-
for explaining all
No,
that. Can you
so
quickly explain? Has Junior appeared anywhere in the United States recently, and are you on the lookout for him? Yes or no?
JFK is coming next week, guys.
You
He's doing a in-store
room for
hardware store pop-up with
Yeah.
Chris Sky. He'll be there. No, so this morning, I got a text from a friend who's not into conspiracy. Well, he's into conspiracies, but not like he just sent it to me because he knows I love reading them and dissecting them and just talking shit. And so he sent me one where it's like, "Hey, have you seen Newsom in the last 2 weeks or 11 days?" Or the governor of California,
Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, and so he got the 3rd dose of whatever the booster is. Well, he actually hasn't been seen. People in California, actual verified people, haven't seen this guy in 11 days.
Okay.
And so the thing is now he's sick, he's dead, he got cerebral palsy from it, whatever it is. And I'm like, you know what, man? That's what he gets for these bullshit mask mandates. No, and then I'm like, okay, like I get people are worried, like they have every right to wonder where their governor is because he canceled the UN, all these meetings and stuff he has scheduled. He not show. Well, then he goes, "Did you hear he was arrested?" I'm like, "Dude, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, he had a sex dungeon in his house in California, and the military got him, and he's going to Guantanamo Bay." And I'm like, and then part of me is like, "Dude, I love you. I really do." It keeps sending me the stuff because I need to let this soak
you
in.
can't shut that door because then the tap turns off. The spigot
But then you're
gets
just
shut.
like, and I sit back and I go, "Man, you had me at if people are vile with human trafficking, you had me. I support you. Get rid of these bad people."
You had me at Sex Dungeon.
Right. When you start adding these other layers of, Robert Kennedy arrested him at gunpoint with a SWAT team and all this crazy, it's like, dude, you're taking away from what could be a real issue here. And dude, I was just like, man, we have got the last 2 years where we just let this stuff. At what point did these stories get so outlandish where even the most diehard QAnon people are just like, man,
All right, we got
had me,
brooked.
you had me at Godzilla's not coming. You had me at Godzilla.
You know,
Where
and
do
it's
you draw
crazy
the
because
line in the
all.
sand?
Well, I don't know. That's a great question, Lochlin Cross. Like the L's for the QAnon people in your country are piling up, and they have been for a couple years. And they're like, "We love being wrong." Like it's crazy. JFK didn't appear at Dealey Plaza in Houston the other day or Dallas the other day. So you know what they did a couple days ago? They had a little circle prayer to get rid of all the curses so JFK could come back. That's how fucked our country is, bud. And it's crazy to me because, like, I remember talking to you a year ago. We were talking about the crazies, and you're like, "Hey, some of it isn't so crazy." And but it's almost like listening to you explain that story. You're like, "All right, yeah, they're all fucked."
Well, it's
It sounds like that's
if
where you're
there's
at
someone
now.
who's a bad guy who's actually into human trafficking or prostitution or whatever this stuff is, where actually human life and men and women are victims, dude, stop it. But
Yeah.
you lose me
Why we
when you
gotta
start
get rid of
adding
Tom
these
Hanks.
stories. He's done. 5G. So
Just
when
for the rapping skills of his son, he should be done.
yeah, for sure.
Chet?
Awful.
Old Chet Hanks.
MC Chet, what
It's
up?
just at what point do you say, "Hey, man, just stop"?
I hope
I
not.
want him to be arrested. I think it'd be amazing. Arrest him tonight. But
Yeah.
he's not. He doesn't have a sex dungeon. His family's not in a panic room hiding him because he's sick and dying. I mean, I don't know. What if it's all true? What if tomorrow we all call each other like, "Dude, everything we talked about actually happened."
Could you imagine?
Chris
Could you
Sky-
imagine
Chris
if
Sky was
everything, everything Chris Scott, all those fucking crazy said? Can you imagine if it comes true?
I
Man,
hope he
the
would
look
be
on
your
our
first
faces.
guest tomorrow. He would have to be on your show. For sure.
If Chris Sky is right, I am gonna walk into a deep lake, and I'll see you guys later.
That could be a Squid Game. How long you can tread water.
The Chris Sky Challenge. Yeah, that's right. John, thanks, buddy. Silver Spear 44 on Twitter is where you can find him. Silver Spear is the name of his company. He is one of America's foremost security experts, especially for concerts. So it was incredible just to get your just to get the 411 about how Astroworld worked and what the deal is and who's responsible and responsibility that falls on different people. And if you need John for anything, silverspear.com, is that correct? Is that where people can get a hold of you?
Yep.
Silverspear.com. Johnny, thanks, buddy. I really appreciate you being here.
Next time, I think I'm going to bring Dr. Greer on, I think.
Holy shit. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Oh, man, I'm in. I literally, I'm about this close to heading off to the woods for the next CE5 event here in Edmonton. So, fuck, I'm all over Stephen Greer.
You and Debbie Lovato.
Oh, fucking rights.
Yeah. Is he
Save me a
buddies with her,
spot.
too? I like her.
Save me
I like
a spot.
Debbie
Oh,
Lovato.
she's into it. Oh, man.
Tom DeLonge from Blink 182. He's into it too.
Tom's awesome. I'm a huge fan of Tom. He's given up his life in the search of aliens.
It's the best.
Yeah, it's
you can't lose.
fantastic.
But Johnny, appreciate it. We'll do Stephen Greer next time. And
Yes.
lots of people say that like Brenton's like bring on the aliens, Johnny. Bring on the aliens. Bring Stephen Greer by next time. Next couple weeks. What do you say?
Yeah, I'll text him right now. But hey, man, I got a show for you. We got some serious alien freaks here.
Yes. Fuck, I
All
will
right,
not miss that. I am planning my month around that.
Johnny,
That
I
is awesome.
appreciate you. Thanks for being
Awesome.
here, pal.
Thank you, gentlemen. Be safe.
We'll talk to you soon. That is John
Yep.
Guarnieri. He is a good buddy of mine, and his podcast is excellent. It's called the Silver Spear Podcast. You can get it at deanblundell.com, wherever you get your fine podcast. Fucking see, this is what we do well.
What do
We
do
allow
well?
people in different spaces to come on and go, tell us what happened.
Mhm.
And then we sit around and shoot the shit, usually, and sewer the people that we just had on. But I'm not sewering him because he's a Secret Service guy. He will kill you with his pinky finger.
He does look like he's lost a little bit of weight. He looks
Yeah.
good. We've
He's
had him
killing
on a
machine.
couple of times, and
Yeah.
always just amazed by his
He
knowledge.
kind of looks
of-
like the guy on the couch, unshaven,
Yeah.
kind of casual.
Just a regular dude.
Seems like a good guy. My favorite Warcraft character by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
I have
too.
no idea what he's talking about. Do you have
Because
any
he's
idea
all
what he's talking-
pixelated,
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Minecraft, actually. I think you're talking about
Oh,
Minecraft.
fuck. There you go.
No worries.
Well, I'm not a gamer.
Speaking of dangerous people, gentlemen, really glad you're here. Lochlin Cross, James D. Fiore. Wanted to put this out there, see what you thought. There's a fella. His name's Ernie Haynes. He's married to a lady named Krista Haynes. Krista Haynes happens to be the premier of Ontario's daughter. So this fellow we're talking about, Ernie, is Doug Ford's son-in-law. Okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
Now-
know this guy.
Ernie, not enough people name their kids Ernie.
It's like that and Gary. Like,
Yeah.
you ever see
And
any
Alan.
baby Garys anymore?
No
There's
Allens
just-
either.
There's
Cody. There hasn't been a Cody sighting in a while.
there's
shit.
some
There's a
Codys
ton
with
of Codys.
Yeah, but
There
just
was
Alan.
in the 90s, but now,
That's right.
now they're 24 and
Anyway,
There's not enough Chets either.
no, but
Just
this
enough
I
guy's
wonder
a
if
lot-
Tom Hanks is like, if he sits there and goes, "Hey, listen, it's my fault, honey. We shouldn't have
Sorry.
named him Chet." You don't give anybody a chance in life if you name him fucking
No.
Chet. No wonder he's a shithead.
that was
Yeah,
the
that's like
bully
a-
in Home Alone, wasn't it? The bully Big Brother?
Yeah, he was.
No.
Yeah. No,
Back to
No,
the
that was
Future.
Weird Science.
no, that was
he was
Biff.
the bully in Weird
No,
Science.
Chet was Weird Science.
Chet was
Oh,
Weird
that's
Science.
but
Yeah,
what?
His brother.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Kelly LeBrock was hot in that.
Yeah, she was, wasn't she? Anyway,
She's not anymore.
back to Ernst, as I like to call him, puts out. So he's a cop, right? Fordsy's son-in-law is a cop, and he's going to lose his gig because he won't get vaccinated. I want you to listen and watch this beautiful victim video he recorded on his wife's Instagram account that he put out on his own. And I want you to listen to how many victim statements this fucking whack job makes about not getting back. Just listen to the
But
victim
don't forget,
statements.
this man protects and serves us. Okay, go.
No, he doesn't. Anyway, here he is.
No.
I think this whole pandemic / Black Lives Matter / defund the police / up is down is up has really, really, really changed the face of what we do. It's really, really changed the face of how we can do it. And it's really, really made it difficult on us. And you all know what I'm talking about when I say that.
So, real quick,
Nice Stranger
video.
Things mention reference.
Yeah, not bad. Up is down, down is up. Nice little borrow from a Netflix kids show. That's pretty sweet too. I was like, all I heard him say there was that this whole Black Lives Matter thing, not for me. This whole being accountable as a cop, not for me. It's really hard being me. While 85% of the people that he worked with, maybe 90 actually, closer to 90 as of today, have been vaccinated, yet no one's saying this shit. No one's doing the woe's me. Look at me. Do you know how hard this is to adjust my perspective? You know how difficult it is to relearn how to be a better cop? Do you know how hard it is for me to change my white supremacist mind? Like, do you know how fucking hard it is? And that's all I heard. Like, all I heard. And that is the premier's son-in-law. And he hasn't said a fucking word about it. It's absolutely fucking magic. It's incredible.
You mentioned this quite a few months ago, Dean, and it's something now that jumps out at me, and we've referenced it more than a couple of times on the podcast. You said that there's a common thread between the people that have a problem with where we're at, and you're kind of right, because we see countless examples of it when they post on social media, or you meet them in person or whatever the case might be. They're talking about all the damage this new world order has done to them, right? This is, what's happening to the world, what's happening to my community, what's happening to my country. They make it about themselves. And I think that those types of personalities, the ones that they choose their personal freedom over the rights of the rest of the community, I think are the types of people that might be drawn towards these types of stances, right? And it's disappointing when you have this idea of somebody in your mind. I brought up Aaron Rodgers as an example. I always liked Aaron Rodgers. I'm not a Green Bay fan, but I liked him. So when I watched him play football, I cheered for his team. His press conferences are funny. He seems really smart. He was hosting Jeopardy, and you just you cheered for the guy. Mm-hmm. And then I watched that interview that he did on that podcast with those sports donkeys, where he starts by saying, "I'm not an anti-vaxxer," then spends 45 minutes
39
referencing every anti-vax narrative that has ever been mentioned out loud, right? Uh-huh. So I believe in all this stuff, but no, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Gets caught in more than a couple of lies. One being the fact that he has an allergic reaction. He's allergic to one of the ingredients in one of the vaccines, and then talks about the Joe Rogan regime of protecting himself from COVID. Somebody smarter than me went and did the research and found out that one of the ingredients he said he was allergic to is actually in the regime he's taking to prevent COVID.
It's in ivermectin,
yeah.
Right. So if he had said, "Listen, I'm not getting the vaccine, because I don't believe in it, and I don't believe it's right for me," I would have way more fucking respect for him than trying to skirt around. Tiptoe around the
cover up that gets them all the time.
It's always the cover up.
Can I circle back to Ernie, the cop there, Ford's son-in-law, because
H train?
Mm-hmm. So I think it's a little bit more complex than maybe you're making it seem, because I know a friend, I have a friend that's on the Toronto Police Force. He's now a desk cop. And what he was telling me over the last 2 years, because when the Black Lives Matters protests were happening, they were given a lot more flexibility than other types of protests. Okay. And we can sit here and wonder why till the cats come home, but that was the end result. They were, and maybe they should or shouldn't. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is that it was treated differently from other protests. When other protests happen, whether it's Yellow Vest or property rights people or anything not left, it was like, why are they super spreading this disease? I can't believe this. The cops should do something. Da, da, da. When it was Black Lives Matter, was like, we need to stop the white supremacist system. And so there were different rules happening at the same time. And then the defund the police was always the stupidest like tagline in the world, because apparently most of them, what they meant was reform, and they said defund or reallocate certain funding from cops and militarizing police forces into social programs and stuff like that. But all they said was defund the police. And so regular people thought that they wanted to just absolve the city, or just,
which is completely asinine.
Well, it's asinine to create a tagline like that, because that's what it defund does not mean reform. It means take the money away so that you defund this organization. And then usually what happens is that organization will fold. Obviously, it's cops. It's not going to happen that way. But that was the message, right? So now, all that being said, I don't know why he's going and pouring his heart out on his wife's Instagram page because of that. And
because of the followers.
But it's really interesting to see how they conflate other things as having to do with this grand picture of some sort of COVID conspiracy. Like it's all intertwined and working together. That's the weird part, I find.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem I have, James, the problem I have with what he's doing in that video, and Dean nailed it at the front end of this conversation. He's making this about him. He's not actually making any points like you just made. Then there's a conversation to be had around the inequities of how a rally on the right is handled and how a rally on the left is handled. Whether it's Black Lives, it doesn't matter what the issue is. There's a conversation to be had about that. Why are we scared of stepping in front of and having any criticism about a rally on the left? Yet in society, we have absolutely no problem completely shit talking the guys that are out there waving the flags on the right. Right? You're right. That needs to be a conversation. That inequity needs to be dealt with. The problem with him is he, like you just said, he lumps it all into one big pot and it's all against him. So you don't take him seriously. You dismiss him immediately because he can't have a rational conversation about it. Right? That's the problem I have with letting people like that be the face of an issue that needs to be dealt with.
Well, and he's not supposed to be the face of the issue, but he's trying to keep his job, and that part of it I get, but like doesn't matter. Like, and James is 100% right, and so are you, Locke. Like, if you listen to this is an attestation to how this is affecting him. Not talking about anybody else. He's only talking about the people that don't want to get vaccinated, and it has something to do with Black Lives Matter, has something to do with defund the police, and it has something to do with up is down. And it's all about him. Watch it again. It's fucked.
I think this whole pandemic / Black Lives Matter / defund the police / up is down and down is up has really, really, really changed the face of what we do. It's really, really changed the face of how we can do it. And it's really, really made it difficult on us, and you all know what I'm talking about when I say that.
No, we don't.
Difficult on us, and who's us? Like, is it the royal us, or is it 90% of the people that he works with that don't find it difficult to do his fucking job? No, he's talking about him and a specific group of police officers, but he's co-opting the entire fucking force so that everybody goes, yeah, man, be nice to H Train, man. Be nice, because he's having a hard time, man.
I think there also needs to be a conversation about what to do with the police, right? There's a real problem in Alberta right now where if you're in Edmonton, if I make a call, if somebody's doing something weird in my front yard, and I phone the police and I say, I got a guy breaking, well, I've done it. I've called the police on my neighbors. Anyway, they're here in literally 3 minutes. They're here in 3 minutes. Like
you're
that.
Right. I can't believe you call your neighbors. Are you the guy that's like, they're burning garbage again in the backyard and it smells weird?
Hold on.
No, sir, they're just having a barbecue.
I called the police because it was either that or I was going to break all the fucking windows out of the fucking Nissan that was parked in front of my driveway.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't want to. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but that dick did
That's
it
good.
3 times, and I told my wife, I'm going to the fucking garage. I'm grabbing a hockey stick. I'm going to break all the windows out of the fucking car. Because you can't be that stupid. I was going to use a hockey stick. You can't be that stupid and block my driveway more than and since I called the cops, it hasn't happened since.
It should be a goalie.
And
You're going to do that.
And I didn't have, not only that, I didn't have it in me to go over and knock on the door. 1, because I'm a pussy.
And you're afraid of your reaction, right? You're afraid I'm going to stroke the guy out.
Yeah.
You should have just walked over in a Speedo. That would have solved everything.
Anyway, if you're in rural parts of Alberta and you phone the police, I have been told, and I don't know this for a fact, it could take a day for them to show up. Now, listen, something's wrong with that. There's a problem. But do you just blow up the entire police force and start from scratch? That's what they're trying to do here in Alberta right now. They're going to dump $500 million into creating a whole new police force. When I said out loud more than a couple of times when we've talked about this, hey, why don't we figure out what the problem is and maybe try to fix the fucking problem as opposed to getting rid of the existing system? Are you telling me that it's that broken, that it's been that damaged for this long that you have to completely blow it up? Or could you take maybe 20 of that or 25 million of the 500 million you plan on spending? And I think I'm exaggerating the numbers, but I don't think I'm that far off. That you're
Toronto's is over $1 billion.
I know it's crazy the amount of money, but it's worth it. It's a police force. We need it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it because what they're spending it on. But they're spending it on, like, Toronto got like those mini tanks. Like,
I don't know about Toronto.
The militarization of police forces started in the States, and now it's coming. It's here now. In Halifax, like they got like one of those little like armored car. They got like a 2 or 3 fleet of armored vehicles for Halifax.
I don't know how they spend their money, so I can't really speak to that. But I just think it's absolutely asinine that you're going to blow up a current system to start another one when maybe you can take a portion of that money and help fix.
But there's the people that are making the argument that you're making, which is a good argument, are people that belong to racial equality organizations, where they say, you know, why don't we take a certain percentage of the existing police budget and reallocate it to programs inside troubled communities, right? Priority communities, I think they call it. And nobody moves on it. It's so weird. Like, we're all asleep when our police force gets militarized. And then when we know it's militarized, we do nothing. And when we figure that what you just said, Lochlin, which is a great point, that we need to just redistribute so that we can figure out what the root causes are and then how to fix it, which is a huge question in the sense that, like, it's inequity, it's inequality, and how do you solve it without making it worse? How do you, like, not demonize like regular good white people by just branding them as white supremacists if they say something wrong? Like, there's all these little microcosmic political things in the middle of it, and it just sort of translates into stalled policy or no policy.
Yeah, and there's no easy solution to fixing a lot of the racial issues that the police force are dealing with. I mean, I didn't know a lot about the Indigenous population and the residential school systems. Like, I knew very little about that. We talked about it as a white kid growing up in BC. It wasn't part of our curriculum. So to hear some of the stories over the last couple of years has been a little bit shocking. And I talked to my one buddy, and I've told you about him. This is his nickname for himself, Indian Al, and he's an artist. And he talks about the fact that the police force is not trusted in his community because they were the ones that went and picked the kids up.
Yep.
So, and that's ingrained, right? The RCMP came to the door. They were the ones that were taking kids to these schools.
Kidnap. The RCMP were like legal kidnappers. It's fucked, you know, and it's crazy because when we get I get it. I 100% get it. But what it comes down to, if you and I like to tie bows on things. Like, I like to kind of understand all sides of it, tie a bow on it. Maybe not a nice bow. Sometimes it's a fuck you bow. Sometimes it's I get it. Here's the deal bow. But here's the truth. This is what I think. This is how I look at H Train's video. white guy in his H train, eh? H train. I know I'm going to say it every time I refer to Ernie as
Okay,
H train.
why?
What's better, H train or Ernie? Anyway, when I see a white guy in his 40s go, it's unfair to change the rules, man. Or I see like Aaron Rodgers, shitting on vaccines after telling everybody he's vaccinated. I think of this one comment, and I was talking to a guy this weekend about the philosophy of life and what goes into accountability, and in our conversation this came up, and I tweeted it this weekend because I thought it was fucking important. When you're used to privilege, equality feels a lot like oppression. And I want you to think about that for a second, from a perspective of the privilege of a white cop who's been told he's got to do extra due diligence, he's got to go get a shot. When he's been the exception to the rule in that profession forever with no accountability, now you're asking these guys to be accountable. An exception to the rule or the loss of privilege is legitimately like oppression to some of these guys. Aaron Rodgers, case in point. Let me play a clip from his interview with Pat McAfee. I want you to watch very carefully, because in this clip where he's like, I got a prescription from Joe Rogan. He's like, I want you to watch the faces of the two guys hosting the show. Pat McAfee almost starts laughing. And the other host is like this.
He's angry. Yeah, he knows he's got one of the biggest guests they've ever had in one of the biggest stories of all time.
And he's a lunatic.
Desperately trying to shut his fucking pie hole.
But But again, this feels like oppression to Aaron Rodgers because he's been asked to give up his fucking privilege, which he couldn't do. So he lied. Watch the clip.
Consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID, and I've been doing a lot of the stuff that he recommended in his podcasts and, on the phone to me, and I'm going to have the best immunity possible now.
Did you see both those guys laughing at him? Watch.
I consulted with
Look at these guys.
a now.
Watch their smiles. So you see McAfee on the left, the other guy, I don't know his name, on the right, and neither of them are smiling. They've got the biggest guest, who's the biggest name in household sports right now.
How would you handle this?
I'd fucking laugh out loud. I wouldn't be able to control myself.
Would you be able to sell him down the river?
I would challenge him on his thoughts. I'd be like, listen,
we're not getting Aaron Rodgers, but I would sell him down the fucking river. I'd go, come on,
I would
dude.
too, in a heartbeat.
Come
but
on.
watch McAfee and his other host. And what I love about McAfee, he does what I do when I'm like starting to laugh and I don't want people to think I'm laughing at them. I go like this.
Oh, now we know.
Oh yeah,
A good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID, and I've been doing a lot of the stuff that he recommended.
Look at the other guest. He went from not having a smile to look at how big his grin is. He's like, this guy's fucking insane.
In his podcasts and, on the phone to me. And
he's trying to fight the smile so hard it actually counts as isometric.
I consulted
with a podcast host who used
you
to
would
be
you know how you should handle that part of the interview? I would have been like, can I just make sure I understand this, Aaron? Because a lot of people are listening and some of them are on the fence of taking the vaccine and they're not friends with Joe Rogan. And you are a professional athlete. Is what you're saying conducive with your bio, sir? You don't hammer him. You talk and you gradually let him hang himself, even though he just basically jumped off a building and cut his throat on the way down. But
you're better at that than I am. You're a little more. You can be more subtle because you're smarter. I don't have the ability.
I hate it when you say that.
Anyway, I mentioned earlier today we were talking about Aaron Rodgers, and I talked about how disappointed I was in the fact that he got caught in a couple of lies, and we had this one. And this is funny.
His whole existence this year was a fucking lie. Like, brutal. Dude, he caught in a couple lies. Terry Bradshaw on Fox on the NFL was like, you fucking lied to everybody. And it literally sent everybody for a loop because Terry Bradshaw, up until this weekend, was the biggest fucking Aaron Rodgers fan on the planet. He used to be like, Aaron Rodgers is my quarterback. Aaron Rodgers. This weekend, he's like, you fucking lied. Like, watch this clip and tell me he didn't lie. Watch it.
Are you vaccinated, and what's your stance on vaccinations?
Yeah, I've been immunized.
I've been immunized.
That's such a lawyer
now
answer.
A good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID, and I've been doing a lot of the stuff that he recommended.
He lied.
Here's the bigger issue is, okay, fine. You don't agree to be vaccinated. All right. Now you play in a league that has established rules around whether or not you can play and whether or not you can participate and practice and travel. There is a very strict rules and regulations you need to adhere by if you're not vaccinated. He followed none of them.
None.
So whose fault is that? If he's not the quarterback, does he get away with that? If he's not a $30 million a year player, does he get away with that?
Reigning
That's bullshit.
MVP.
To me, that's the fucking problem with this whole story, is that he's probably, and I don't know, maybe you guys can weigh in on this. I hope he never plays again. And that sounds harsh, but I hope they cut him. I hope they fucking cut ties with him. And I hope somebody gets dragged out in the NFL for letting him get away with this, because it's bullshit, and because he's a member of a team. And if you have a certain set of rules or standards or whatever, or belief structure that is against everybody else's, you pay the consequences for it, in my opinion.
Natural
and he didn't have to. They let him get away with it. He didn't wear a mask. Now what are they going to do? What's the NFL going to do? Are they going to fine him? Or are they gonna let him come back when he tests negative for COVID?
Isn't the union backing Rodgers on this?
They have to, though, right?
Yeah. Why? Isn't that the problem with unions, that they have to? You know what I mean?
How many?
Because you just made the
we're
argument.
Opening a lot of wormwormholes here today.
I know, but
Holy
you just sort of
shit.
made the argument, if I'm not mistaken, that a head needs to roll for allowing this to happen.
Yeah. Don't you agree, though?
Yeah, I do. And so on that, why wouldn't the union have a role of responsibility to play too, and not just, well, they just do that? What, isn't that the same thing? Aren't they making the same sin or committing the same sin?
Yeah, it's a great point. They are. I mean, it's you look at the PA's issue with Kyle Beach in the NHL, right?
Mm-hmm.
NHL PA's issue is like they didn't support him. Now they're under the fucking microscope. Now there's going to be an independent. And they should be, as should the NFLPA.
As should Bettman.
Great point.
Bettman should be held accountable. Nobody is going to.
Or at least someone should molest him. He's like a little boy. He's really small, right?
Thanks, James, for that.
What?
You know.
Oh, Jesus.
What? You know, you take the pitchfork and when everybody's putting their stuff away, and you shove it into the chest of the offending person.
Oh, I just jabbed.
Yeah. It's not bad. I didn't mind.
Scary Batman. No one gives a fuck about him. Jesus.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Anyway,
I thought we had an NHL sponsor that I just fucked up for a second.
No,
like, James.
No, you didn't.
Oh my God, James, how could you?
We don't have those. They don't like us.
I don't think that we're going to get any after today's show.
I don't.
Unless Gary Bettman dies, and then we might.
There you go.
We all have something to look forward to.
You're welcome, boys.
Thanks, bud. It's a great place to jump off. Yeah, let's tie one on this one and say goodbye. That is James DiFiore. Blackballmedia.ca is where you can send your emails. And you can also get them wherever you get your fine podcasts, including here at DeanBlundell.com, iTunes, Spotify, etc. It's called Blackball the Podcast. I think you got Chomsky coming up either this week or next week.
December 9th, Chomsky's coming back. I hope he's not dead. He didn't. Noam and I email each other quite often, and usually he takes 2 days to respond, but it's been like 5. So I hope he's not dead because he's very old.
Sure he's fine. He's probably busy. He's probably busy making it to the computer.
Anyway, ignoring you too.
Yeah,
that's a good possibility.
He might have caught on to what we've caught on to.
If he ever watched this podcast, he would never do the show. Now I don't care. Time. Now I'll say anything because he's already done it once, and now it's like he's on my bucket list. Now that's good. So, but still,
Blackballed had a huge guest on the weekend.
It's true.
Lochlin. Yeah, you guys had a great podcast. Actually, I watched it and I was watching you guys congratulate each other in the DM section of my Twitter too, and I was like, do I weigh in? Or do I wait to say, great interview, James, great job? Or do I just wait to find out who was the drunkest or the highest in the middle of that podcast? Because it was on a Saturday night.
I think both of us held it together. Like, I wasn't on shrooms or nothing. I was like, I just smoked a pile of weed. But you were like, Lochlin was on, what did you say, 6, 7 beers? Something like that?
I was 6 deep, I think. Yeah. That's nothing, though. That's Tuesday.
Yeah.
I was just, I sort of.
That's a bridge pack at best,
7 o'clock at night, man. I could be 9 in. Like,
Dude, by that time
basically.
at 9:30 when I was
problem.
still drinking, that was a Mickey of vodka and a bottle of wine by the time that I would have been on air, and I would have had all this caked shit on the side of my mouth. And be like,
Well, I
"Ooh,
cracked a bottle of wine at dinner, and then I went, oh, I better not, because if I would have got into the vino, I would have been you would have
Lights
been
out?
dealing with a lot more lock.
That would have been awesome.
Well, listen, I'm excited. Glad you guys are here. Lochlin Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton, at Lochlin Cross on Twitter. Listen to him online if you get a chance. His morning show is phenomenal, best in the country.
Still didn't get to the blocking thing.
We'll get to it tomorrow because
I love this conversation, especially with you, Dean.
I do too, because I block people from time to time. Not often, but I've started to. And Lachlan's like, I think we want to have a conversation about this live, real time. So we're going to do it with Ryan Imgren tomorrow. Yeah, we'll do it with Imgren, who got into a...
that's perfect, based on what he's been going through.
Oh, he was fine. He did. Listen, if he's listening, you did nothing wrong, dude. Nothing at all. You were totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
I didn't.
But he got into a pissing contest on Twitter, so it's.
I know. I saw it. I read it. Yeah.
Whether he had anything to do with it, it's worth the conversation about blocking and the pros and cons around it.
I only block blue check marks. Those are the only ones.
That's why you don't return my messages, I guess.
I don't block you, Dean. Oh, what do you mean? I texted you yesterday with this idea, and you're like,
I didn't see it. Did you text me with an idea?
Like yesterday.
Oh yeah, I'm doing 4 shows. I was going to talk to you about it today. As a matter of fact, it's on my list. I think.
Okay, give me a call.
You're in my book. You're in my book of people to talk to. Thanks, James.
James has me muted for sure.
No, I don't. I don't fucking mute my friends. I just want my friends to love me. We went over this on Saturday, Lochlin. Jesus Christ.
No, great podcast. Go watch it. The one with Lochlin, Blackball with Lochlin. You can check it out at Blackball the podcast, wherever you get your fine podcasts. It's really, really good. You guys did a great job.
The next time I do it, I'll get shit tanked.
Do it.
An hour and 12 minutes. It felt like 45. Guys, I love that. I do.
Congratulations.
Right. I'll see you later.
Right. Thanks, James. Thanks, Lochlin.
Guys.
See you guys
Thanks,
soon.
guys. Have a good day.
You too, buddy. That is James. That is Lochlin. That is it. For us, thanks to J.M. Guarnieri from Silver Spear, the podcast, former Secret Service agent to the President of the United States. Yeah, that's right. That's how we do stuff. We robe ourselves in people who are fine with the dark arts of murder and other things. Lawyers, Secret Service agents. No big deal. Keep that in mind. Next time you send me a shitty tweet, make it Secret Service after you. I could care less. Anyway, tomorrow on the program, we've got Ryan Imgren, biostatistician. We're going to be talking about what it's like to be sewered by mainstream media. That happened to him over the past couple of days. Really excited to have Ryan on the program. We'll let him tell his piece. We'll also get into a bunch of other stuff. 3 o'clock tomorrow. We'll see you then right here at DeanBlundell.com. At It's Dean Blundell on Twitter, YouTube, Dean Blundell Show, Twitch, Dean Blundell TV. You can listen to it, watch it, listen to it wherever you get your audio podcast. Watch it on YouTube at Dean Blundell Show or Twitch as well, Dean Blundell TV. I think that's it. Have a great day. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks to our sponsors, including domination.com, dmntn.com. That's where you can find us and this little piece of AI beautiful software that we use to create content. You can do the same thing. Try them for free today. Go to dmntn.com and try them for free. Also, Ed at Ed's Fine Imports. Thanks for the Gitch. Got a new shipment yesterday. Gitch, Gitch, boxer briefs, super comfortable, pouch in the front, banana hammock. It's like a tree fort for your nutsack and your fella. They're the best underwear I've ever bought, and they're Canadian made. Support a Canadian company. Buy your underwear from Ed's Fine Imports. The underwear is called Gitch. Use promo code GITCH3. I'll send you 4 pairs for the price of 3 when you buy 3 today. Clothing for men and boys, and Ed's Gitch at edsfineimports.com. And Easy Auto Financial. Looking for a car? Having a hard time with financing? Don't want to pay someone to go and fucking buy your car for you? These guys don't take a dime. No obligation. None. Turnkey as well. They put you in touch with the people that love to get people vehicles. They put you in touch with the financing. They don't charge you a dime. These are wonderful people. They want to get you in a vehicle. Go to Easy Auto Financial. Sign up. No obligation. Sign up. Let them help you today. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for being part of the show. Don't forget to sign up for a newsletter at deanblundell.com. Have a wonderful day. Be nice to each other. Only if they deserve it. Bye.